In order to understand the large number of Afghan evacuees who have arrived in the United States, it's important to first understand the Taliban. In this graph, we see where the Taliban has control and where the fighters are located and the resources they are using, in this example, poppy. Additionally, having help from Pakistan, which is where their top leaders are located to fund and arm their fighters. By 2008, there were areas of Afghanistan that were 75% controlled by the Taliban. And in 2012, the United States reduced its troops and relied on the Afghanistan government to help, but the people did not trust the government due to past events. As the troops pulled out during the Biden administration, the Taliban came up with a tactic to take control of the government. Their top leaders, Pashtun, were the same people involved in the Taliban in the 90s, but having multiple different subsections that are seen in the lower triangle made their attacks unpredictable. Additionally, the United States had other motives when it came to the war. They were also focused on Iraq when trying to take down Saddam Hussein, a well-known terrorist who was a part of the government in Iraq, which essentially left Afghanistan high and dry. They were also on a mission to search for participants in al-Qaeda, especially finding Osama bin Laden, the conductor of the 9/11 attacks. As US troops left, since the US government felt that Afghan government was strong enough to help themselves, the Taliban saw this as weak and began attacking cities and taking over the government, thus leading to the Kabul attacks this past summer. Currently, the Biden administration opens temporary protected status to Afghan evacuees, including around 1,900 in Massachusetts. Over the past summer, 80,000 people evacuated from Afghanistan, and now 2,000 of those evacuees have arrived, thus giving them the opportunity to apply for temporary protected status, which is a status that will allow them to remain legally in the United States. This will not only help those coming into the United States, but will also help those who have already been in the United States and help them remain here without having to return to an unsafe country. Jeff Thalman, the president of the International Institute of New England, spoke a lot about the process of those who arrive in the United States and what their timeline looks like. Mr. Thalman explained, "Our program has received 488 Afghans and placed them in apartments and some homes, as far south as New Bedford and as far north as Haverhill, Massachusetts. Our job is to help these folks settle in the community. We help people find jobs, enroll them in our English classes. We also help them enroll in a health insurance plan and place their children in school." Afghan evacuees can get in contact with IINE because, as Mr. Thelman stated, the State Department gets in contact with these people. About 75,000 people. Then the U.S. Department contacts 9 voluntary agencies. We have people in contact with our partners, USCRI, where they assign people to us and we go to the airport and pick them up. In these clips, we see rare footage of the Taliban coming together outside of the cities before they attacked larger cities like Kabul and Herat. People who have families and also work for the government have helped the United States by putting their lives in danger in Afghanistan, for example, working for the U.S. Embassy, thus giving them no option but to escape to the United States or to nearby countries like Turkey, especially shown in this clip. This also affects those living in the Boston area because there's a need for certain resources to be provided for those evacuees who are arriving. This includes transportation, food, money, schooling, even housing. Therefore, evacuees arriving also affect those living in the United States, especially Boston, Massachusetts. Therefore, people living in the local area must work with organizations to ensure a smooth transition for those arriving from Afghanistan to help them resettle into the United States, and more specifically, in this case, Boston, Massachusetts, in order to make sure their resettlement is extremely smooth.